Over nearly 30 years, USPAP has been the generally recognized standard of real estate appraisal in the United States, and during that time it has become more and more rules-based. It is clear that having a single set of standards for all valuation work has created unintended consequences. Hard and fast requirements can make an appraisal needlessly cumbersome, more costly, and can result in a report that is not as useful to a client in any particular intended use. This has caused potential clients to retain less qualified professionals to provide advice and opinions that would be better provided by specifically trained valuation professionals. To better support public trust, standards intended for all valuation assignments should be based on overarching valuation principles and should exclude requirements that aren't necessary for all uses. Requirements specific to certain intended uses should be presented separately. To accomplish this, USPAP should include at a core level only those requirements applicable to all valuation assignments. Requirements applicable only for certain intended uses should be moved to other standards, regulations, guidelines, or requirements. Picture a tree. The principles-based requirements applicable to all valuation assignments form the trunk of the tree, and specific standards applicable to various intended uses are the branches. Many of the issues are found in the reporting requirements. For example, valuations for financial reporting, VFR, portfolio valuations, and litigation support often do not need all the information required in an appraisal report, and the user restrictions and warnings now required in a restricted appraisal report can make that option unavailable for the intended use. Some existing requirements are simply not relevant in all intended uses. Valuation professionals should be able to meet these needs, comply with standards, and better support public trust. If the consumer can call on trained valuation professionals for a broad range of valuation services, the quality and reliability of the service product will be improved. Interpretations of USPAP and enforcement now discourage many valuation professionals from providing services they are ultimately most qualified for and should be providing. The first step would be to identify those requirements in the current USPAP that are critical for all intended uses and users. These would be uniform standards applicable in all situations. The next step would be to provide requirements that would apply only when the assignment is for a specific intended use, such as mortgage lending. These specific standards could include some or all of the elements removed from the current USPAP, plus any others applicable to that intended use. We valuation professionals now comply with several standards, including Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FIRREA, HUD, FHA, the Uniform Appraisal Standards for Federal Land Acquisitions, and IRS, in addition to USPAP. These are examples of specific standards. Restricted appraisal report limitations, requirement to disclose prior services involving the subject property in the last 3 years, requirement to prominently state the report option, appraisal report or restricted appraisal report, and others. Regulators have always had to include Fannie Mae, FIRREA, Uniform Appraisal Standards for Federal Land Acquisitions, HUD, Farmer Mac, IRS, etc. appraisal requirements in their investigations in addition to USPAP. So the optimization concept should not make a significant change to the regulators. In fact, it should encourage more time for enforcement of significant and ethical issues, rather than non-substantive details. The broad principles-based requirements that are now in USPAP, that are the enhancements to public trust, would still be in USPAP. Clients and others who pay for appraisal and review reports would no longer be charged for research and analysis performed and information in the report that is not needed for credibility in specific intended uses. This should have the result that the best qualified professionals are hired. This further enhances public trust, as more reliable answers would be provided to client questions. Learn more about USPAP optimization on the Appraisal Institute's website.